Right, here we are, Golf Clash community, and I am back for a golden shot tutorial here, the medium hole. And this is with the rookie tees and a hole from Vineyard Acres that I have not played in quite some time. So I believe that from the small tees that I usually use the golden long iron. 1.7 per ring is going to be the adjustment that I use. It does kind of vary, kind of slightly, sometimes maybe in a headwind over this water or something, that it might need just a slight over adjustment. But we'll just play that, with a 3 to 5 wind here. We're going to be looking at adjustments between 2 and 3 rings, maybe just a hair under 2 rings, but you want to keep all your adjustments between 2 and 3 rings. So that's the key, important to note. And here you can see we only have 2 bounces. Well, the way that I play the shot, I try to use no spin whatsoever. So that's kind of what it does is it keeps it very simple, the adjustment. Now, to do the no spin method, you're going to have to land right on the edge here. So I do want you to note that. I am going to get, within a ring here. And I also got to keep the ball guide you can see that I'm keeping it towards the right of the hole kind of intentionally. And that's because that it rolls out towards the left a little bit. I do remember that. And as I mentioned, if you want to use the no spin method, which I really encourage because that takes those little minor alterations. And here you can see a 3-ring adjustment. And let me just show you how this plays out. I was within 1 ring of this edge. And it looks like it just shot out towards the right, but you can see that the speed's absolutely perfect. And that's, people get in the habit of overspinning. And, especially with a limited guide, I want to encourage you guys to maybe play that shot. Now, there is going to be some minor altercations as the wind changes, but there you can see, it didn't quite play out towards the left quite as much as I wanted it to. This is kind of the exception. We get a tailwind. I'm going to make sure that I use almost half a bar, and I'm going to cheat my aim up just slightly as well. But you can see kind of what I'm doing with my second hop, how close it is to that light colored box. It's very close. And here's the case that, I start to cheat it up just a little bit. And I'll do 2 rings on the adjustment. Pretty much spot up. And I also have that little applied backspin on there as well. And let's just see how this plays out. Here you can see that it's coming in much faster. And that's one of the reasons that I finally tweaked it with it was almost half of 1 bar. And you can see that the speed comes out almost perfect. But I remember, even though I haven't played this hole for a while, I remember this trick because of the, kind of what I'm mentioning to you guys with not touching the spin. I can't remember if we had a golden shot here before, but when I play this in the rookie tour, I believe it's found in Tour 2. And here you can see that, I got this gift card here from one of the gracious members of the Learner Burn community. So that's what these tutorials are brought to you guys by, was, a generous donation from a member. So that is what I'm using to provide these shots for you guys. And since, I haven't missed left yet, I am going to just start to get a little bit more aggressive. Here you can see that it's almost touching that line. I do expect it to have a little bit more wind effect here. So here you're going to see me go 3 rings. And I'm not going to put the spin on again. So do make a pivotal note of that. I do have a case of a headwind here. So I'm just going to see how this plays out, kind of without touching it, especially since that inner ring is gone anyway. I want to make sure that it gets to the hole. So you can see that I'm not afraid of it going long now. So, I don't need it to stay pin high, but into a headwind case, you can see that I can get the ball past the hole. with none, with not putting the spin on, but into a tailwind, you won't be able to stop the ball, as you could see from one of my other shots, without that half bar. So it is something to think about, but also keep in mind, how close I am to this edge here. Because if you change your landing zone, I'm within a ring every time. So that's one of the first things to note. But also keep in mind that I'm going to start to rotate, especially with a mega side wind like this. I'm going to start to rotate my guide. Now, this is the case that I was mentioning where I just need just a tiny bit. But as you can see, I don't have many inner rings left. So you're only going to see me fractionally put on the backspin. It was very, very small, not even, a ring here. Now, I might want to just, if I don't have all these rings unlocked, I might want to just change that just slightly, just so it doesn't alter the outcome here of how I go about getting these. But with this case, it's only going to take this huge ring away. So I just want to foremost make sure that I don't leave it on the lip in this case. And here you can see I've got everything but the hole-in-one, and there's a little bit of an over-adjustment. You just got to play around with the wind effect more than anything. This is going to be a very manageable hole for you to get. Let's just see with this easy wind. This is the best wind that we've got. So what this is going to allow me to do is it's going to let me set up much more aggressively towards the hole, kind of similarly like this. You can see my positioning. So I'd really like to get this one to drop because this is a very straight wind, which means that the margin of error from wind play is going to, so just take your extra time, set this up to where you have a very straight needle. Pull, be very careful with your ring adjustment, how many rings you go. And let's hope that I can get this one so I don't have to waste any shots here. But since I have a few, I might as well. But there you can see that it just fractionally misses on that side of the cup. So it just shows you that you do have to play around with that guide. Really look at the last two shots that I did with my ball guide, because I was within probably, 3/4 of a box different with that second hop. So do especially make note of those last two, because the way that I went about using that guide were just slightly different. But let me go ahead and go into one extra shot just in case I'm able to get this. And as I mentioned, it's going to come down to just a fraction of a centimeter. Once I have this much unlocked, I want to make sure that it doesn't stop short. So I'm going to make sure that the momentum of the hole is enough. So here you can see where I'm adjusting and, with that positioning where I'm at. And let's take a look here. And as I mentioned, no top spin at this point, or no backspin, sorry, because I don't want the ball to stop short. But you do have to stay aggressive towards the front edge, which means you need to be very precise with the way that you put the ball in the center of the circle. And here you can see just not enough wind effect accounted for. It's a game of just fractions of an inch. But let me go over to the other hole. Not really too worried about that. I would like to get it. However, I would much prefer to give you guys some bonus shots if you guys want to see just kind of a couple hard shots on for the overtime here. I think I have the hole-in-one here. I just don't have this inner ring. So maybe I can even take care of both of these in one would be nice without even having to use extra. But as I mentioned, if you guys haven't seen my guide, you do have to play around with the guide just very similarly for this hole. So you're going to see my starting point be very right here. In fact, in my guide, I don't think I missed right once. So that should tell you something about kind of the way that you need to go about setting up here. And you can see kind of where I'm putting my guide as well. Let me just set up there. And I usually play 1.4 per ring. So here you're going to see maybe just a hair over 4 rings, or right around or exactly 4 rings. I'm, a little bit okay with doing an overplay because, as I mentioned, I've missed left every single time, and yet again another left miss. And it has to do with wind effect and just trying to, figure out that perfect play. You can see that I can get within inches, but with only, the what is this, one hop, 1.5. They only have like a 1.5 guide here. And here, wow. So we actually got the exact same wind again. And, I am going to stay slightly aggressive. Make sure that I don't touch the spin. And I might just hopefully try to get just a little bit more towards the right. As I mentioned, I have yet to miss right. So that just means that, it's going to be very hard to get the positioning where you need it for this shot. And once again, I'm going to go the 4 rings. Very centered with the circle. Perfect ball. And same thing. There you can see that it just gracefully comes over the hole. And unfortunately, just shoots towards the left. So that is one of the key components to think about when going about that hole. You can see I was very close, but those inner rings are going to be very challenging. You guys could very possibly make that 3 or 4 times using my guide, but at the same time, there's just no guarantee with the limited. I mean, let's take a look at the guide here. I forget the number, and I didn't address it specifically in guide, but it's a very small number, so you don't even get to see that 1.7. So it only shows you 1 full and then only 3/4 of another bounce. So, good luck with both these hole guides. I think following these guides, you'll be able to, as I said, either get all of them, or at the same time, you can really struggle with those inner rings on that hard hole because of that little crest that you can see that it just kind of funnels over. But do keep in mind that I've missed everything left as well. So don't be afraid at the same time. As you can see, especially with those crosswinds, it's going to be very, very challenging. I'm not telling you guys to, go out and get crazy, because it does miss right. So, but it's just something, that's kind of an interesting fact but also keep in mind, a left to right wind, you probably will miss right if you're not considering the fact that it is a left to right wind. So, good luck with that hole, guys, and use your wind effect as your biggest indicator as to how you set up that, and try to limit your spin on both of these, because what I like about the no spin method is it creates all that human error to where one opponent could have 0.34 side spin, for example, and the other guy could have 0.27, and those like fractional differences sometimes is enough to alter your shot. So this is more of a raw guide where you guys can follow and see exactly what I do when I don't touch the spin. It just takes away one less variable that you need to even consider for your shot. So that's why you see me going about it the way that I do. So good luck there, guys, and catch you guys on the next guide.